going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the NBA Slate Starter Podcast. I'm Eric, joined with my buddy Rayen as we break down Wednesday's 10-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Bro just continues to set the world on fire. One of our fellow Awesemo brethren who just had another massive night, coming off of another massive night, coming off another massive night. So congrats to him. Rayen, how did tonight go for you?
Definitely not as good as bro. An absolute torrid run he's been on to start off the 2021 calendar year. Kudos to him. He does our lineup reviews. Make sure to check out those articles on a daily basis when he throws them out there on the site at Awesemo NBA. You'll definitely see that. Does a great job breaking down the DK contest, the main big contest, breaking that down. As of late, he's been breaking himself down because he's been winning so much.
It's got to be fun. It's definitely much more fun, I'm sure, to cover yourself when you're smashing those top things. So hopefully he gives another nice shout out to himself. He deserves it. So well done, bro. Just keep it going, man. On to tomorrow we go. But before we do, if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and go to that bottom bar. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you know when this and all the other content at Awesemo goes live. Tomorrow night, actually, I want to do a little plug for myself too. Spags and I are going to be doing a late night NBA DFS show for the late slate. We're both out here in LA in California, so we thought we would put together a little bit of a dealio for you guys for this late slate because these contests are just kind of going off the hook right now. You've got 100K to first prize pools kind of all over the place over on DraftKings, and then FanDuel has another grouping of 50K to first. I mean, the late slates have just gotten to be so big. So if you enjoyed the 2-game slate today, I believe tomorrow's a 3-game NBA slate for the late slate. We're just going to keep breaking those down and do a little bit of a sweat show / late slate building for you guys. So check that out. It'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific. So go ahead and jump on the Awesemo deal by clicking that notification bell down there at the bottom, and you'll be able to see our beautiful faces chatting it away. So let's get right to the analysis here today. Sitting at the top end of point guard over on FanDuel, we've got a lot of studs at a lot of different positions. It's going to be very interesting to see where the value ends up emerging, but obviously sitting up at this top range for point guard, Luka Doncic is 11,500. With Porzingis back, I'm not too worried about him for the most part. His rates tend to be about the same, but just kind of somebody that I think is going to, just by default, going to see a little bit of a decrease there. Obviously, 33.9 FanDuel points wasn't getting it done against Toronto the other night. So hopefully we see a little bit of a bounce back there. Damian Lillard at $10,000 without CJ McCollum is definitely somebody that is going to be a talking point and a popular play of this slate, simply because Portland in that night hammer, he's got to be a guy who scores for that game to be competitive for the Trailblazers. And then Steph Curry, 9,800, who has been in unbelievable form, went out and basically didn't have the greatest game against the Lakers, but really kind of put on a little bit of a show there towards the end. That step back 3 was just so saucy. It was so fun to watch. Talk to me about this top end of point guard.
Yes, going back to that step back 3, he took Anthony Davis on a little dance revolution there. Pretty impressive step back 3 from Steph. Ben, there's one guy that you didn't get to talk about was Kyrie Irving, going back to Cleveland for the first time since his Boston debut. The same night Gordon Hayward pretty much blew up his leg. It's going to be fun to roster Kyrie against Cleveland. I think he's going to be good to go.
Yeah, I wanted to save that for you, but I mean, out of these big 3, who are you kind of looking at being the guys who emerge? Do you think Kyrie is going to be playing full minutes coming right back?
Full minutes will be tough to have confidence and say yes, but 9,200, you know what Kyrie Irving can do. He's the layup god. He can get his bucket whenever he wants to. And I don't think anyone in Cleveland is going to slow down Kyrie. And at 9,200, I think we can definitely take some shots at him. Don't get me wrong. I do prefer Curry and Lillard. Finding those extra $100 or few $100, a difference of $600 to get up to Curry, $800 to get up to Lillard on FanDuel. Over there in DK, I think Kyrie comes in at, I believe, let me just make sure.
DK, he's 9K, so you get a steep discount there. So, yeah, between the two sites, I mean, DraftKings, you're looking at more advantageous pricing for guys like Curry at 9,700, Kyrie at 9K, De'Aaron Fox with the price hike to 8,900 there. Is there one of those guys, let's go from above 8,300, going from Brogdon up, that you kind of prefer as your guy going into tomorrow? Early look, obviously, but don't have to attach to him. But anybody you really have your eye on.
In terms of being the most safe, And like it provided me a nice floor on a 10-game slate. It's sometimes kind of important at times, but you want to be able to target ceiling, kind of safe and ceiling wise. I think I'm gonna go with Trey Young, 9,300, shown
Ooh.
in 32 minutes, 39 minutes, uh, has put up 55, 50 DK points respectively. You're gonna like that on DK where you get the 3-point bonus as well. I'm gonna like Trey Young quite a bit. Going all the way down to some value that we need to look at is John Morant, 7,300 on DK. Great price that played mid 30 minutes last time out. And Goran Dragic, 5,200 on FanDuel, has pretty much been playing majority of the minutes, getting a significant more usage with no Butler out there. Took 15 shot attempts against Detroit. And at 5,200, I think he can get you around 30 fantasy points, and you'll happily take that against this Toronto matchup.
Love that. Aaron Gordon. It's crazy to see that he has point guard eligibility over on DraftKings. Wanted to point that one out too. 7,400. He is handling the ball more, so I guess it does make sense. But one other guy too to kind of talk about. He burned a lot of people the other night, but Damian Dotson's 5,200, sitting in a spot with Colin Sexton. You have that same deal where Colin Sexton is going to be questionable, and Darius Garland's going to be questionable going into tomorrow. So at 5,200, he's still going to play 35 plus minutes in that spot because there's nobody else who can do it with Dante Exum hurt and now shipped out of town. So somebody's got to play those minutes. So Dotson's kind of a prime candidate for that. And then we're working our way down to one more guy in the below 5K that I really like on both sides is Patrick Beverley, 4,900, sitting there on DraftKings. He's kind of filling up the stat sheet in a multitude of ways. Over on FanDuel, he's 4,600, so it's a little bit more advantageous, especially for a guy who can get you a steals and blocks upside. Blocks maybe not so much, but he is kind of known for his defensive presence. So I kind of want him at that bottom end, but otherwise there are just so many studs at point guard too, and we're going to say that about a lot of these positions, so make sure you're paying attention to news and you see that flooding through. And speaking of news, go to Awesemo NBA on Twitter, the at Awesemo NBA Twitter handle, as that is going to kind of be where you grab all of your news now, so keep up to date on news, breaking lineups, starting lineups as those come out, and you're going to be able to check in and really stay ahead of the game by getting those notifications set up. So make sure you get that set up going into tomorrow, and we'll take care of you. So at the top end is shooting guard on DraftKings. We'll start over there. Of course, James Harden sitting at 10,900. Oh, baby. And then, I don't know, there's one guy who might be a lock on this slate. Can you tell me who that would be?
Yeah, I've been playing DraftKings since the summer of 2015, here and there, and I don't think there's ever been a lock of all locks ever. And Kevin Huerter, $9,500 DK, absolute smash play. Lock it up, doing it for the Gingers. Going to throw up 60 fantasy points and take all his lineups to the top. That's right.
Oh, man, Rin Pack, yeah. Oops, DraftKings. Just oops. I don't know. I bet this is going to get to be an old bit. I mean, you're going to hear it a million times tomorrow. Kevin Huerter. What's his over-under on percentage owned tomorrow? What would you put the line at?
I mean, for me, it's going to be 100%, man. Let's ride.
Okay, over under 0.2%. It's got to be over that, right? Or so maybe
it's good.
0.4% over or under.
There's going to be people who are going to be like, oh, I'm going to play him getting cute, and maybe he gets up to like 0.5% or something. I don't know. In the big tournament, a 10-game slate, 0.5%, where they're going to cap it off, and that's like the extreme.
Paying 0.5% of the rate tomorrow, Kevin Huerter owners. That's so nice. Working our way down to more practical plays. Or if you want to go up top there, 10,900, James Harden. Hard to speak against how well he's playing right now. Obviously, with Kyrie in the mix, we're going to see how that all breaks down. But if you want to take some shots there, I mean, he's a guy who it's hard to speak against his upside. So he might be a little bit lower owned with Kyrie expected to be back. So somebody that is still a great pay-up option there. Paul George, 9,100. And then D'Angelo Russell's kind of the guy I have my eye on, 8,800. I'm not sure what that ownership is going to come in at, but with Karl Anthony Towns out, I mean, you saw in 32 minutes, he still set the world on fire the other night for 55 plus. So somebody that I'm going to definitely have a lot of shots on. What do you think about D'Angelo Russell and some of these other top end guys?
Yeah, I like D'Angelo Russell, 8,800, point guard, shooting guard eligibility. I like that he's getting north of 20 shot attempts. I would like him to even get some even more shot attempts up. There's no one else I really want to count on over there. Maybe I prefer like Malik Beasley as an offensive option as with no cap, but D'Angelo Russell, I really like that price tag. But I do prefer a $9,100 shooting guard eligibility Paul George against Sacramento. I think he can put up 50 fantasy points with ease against Sacramento. $8,500 on FanDuel. I like that quite a bit. I do like $8,400 D'Angelo Russell over there. FanDuel is just always going to be constantly a nice floor play where you can expect high 30 fantasy points from him day in and day out. Oladipo, absolutely sensational in his Houston debut. 7,800 on DK, 7,900 on FanDuel. I think we're gonna have to like that quite a bit. And Devin Booker on the other side has been kind of disappointing. We haven't seen him score 50 fantasy points in a long time. It hasn't even happened this season yet, which is really disappointing, especially how hot he left that bubble. Obviously, Chris Paul there, less ball handling duty, but he was very disappointing against Memphis last time out. And Andrew Wiggins is just playing happy. I haven't seen Wiggins play this happy, picking up some nice defensive stats along the season. Was disappointing against the Lakers matchup as you kind of expected, but now going against the Spurs, who are not as good defensively as they used to be, you can take some shots with Wiggins for sure. How do you feel about the rest of the shooting guard position? And I do like Kevin Huerter, 5,500 on FanDuel.
Yeah, so go get your Kevin Huerter exposure over on FanDuel. Hot take of the day. Good work. I like 4,500 Cam Reddish if he's going to go against Detroit. 4,500. I hope that game time decision tag sits there forever. We talk about late swap all the time. Somebody that game does start half an hour after lock. So if he were to be a game time decision and that starting lineup comes out after lock, you're looking at 4,500 over on FanDuel, having a guy who can definitely bust a ceiling there. You never really know which one of those Atlanta guys it's going to be, whether it's going to be Hunter, Horter, or Reddish, kind of amongst those people, or Solomon Hill perhaps. No, it's a joke. I was definitely joking. But Cam Reddish 4,500 on FanDuel, somebody that I would definitely have a lot of interest in at a little bit of a decreased price tag. And then a guy that we're going to talk a little bit about later at the small forward position, but he's listed at shooting guard on DraftKings, is Jaylen Brown. So I just want to bring him up. He's got shooting guard eligibility and 8,700 there, which brings us right over to small forward. What a segue. We're getting so much better at this. Kevin Durant sitting at 10,300 over on FanDuel. Kawhi Leonard is 9,100 over on FanDuel. That's a great tag against Sacramento in a game that should be high total, up and down moving. So, blowout concern, but you can say that about just about anybody on any given time in the year 2021. So moving our way down then to Jeremy Grant, 8,400 against Atlanta. If you're going to have some of these Atlanta guys and have a great run back, Jeremy Grant has been pretty darn impressive. He's had a couple of 50-point outings, a couple of 45, 50-point outings constantly in the last couple of games. Somebody that is kind of like taken over that offense. I know that it's not a good offense. It's not a good basketball team, but he does have that 61.8 burger that he put up against Miami on the front end of their home and home, or excuse me, their away and away back-to-back against Miami. Talk to me about Jeremy Grant and a couple of these other guys, and I guess my guy that I really wanted to bring up was Jaylen Brown, 8,300 at small forward.
Yeah, I mean, going to Jaylen Brown, the Celtics got blown out by 30 against the Knicks. What a time. Jaylen Brown has struggled against Philly. They played against Philly last year in the playoffs, but granted, this is a different Celtics team that they'll be rolling out tomorrow. I'm going to like Jaylen Brown. Hopefully his ownership is going to be a little discounted. Maybe we can take advantage of that. Other options to consider, I like Kawhi Leonard against Sacramento. He played Sacramento the other night in 28 minutes, put up 43 fantasy points. The game was not close as they won by 38. Now, if this game stays close, I think you can chalk him up for close to 50 fantasy points, if not more, against a very, very woeful Sacramento defense. Other small forward options, like you said, KD on FanDuel, 10-3. I do prefer a 9-1 Kawhi Leonard. I do like saving those $1,200 quite a bit. And a guy who we mentioned, we forgot to mention on FanDuel, a shooting guard eligible and has small forward eligibility on DK, but specifically on shooting guard, Gary Trent Jr. burned everyone on MLK Monday. I was really high on him, even after Rodney Hood was ruled a starter. He really let me down, let a lot of people down that night. I believe he was like north of 60% owned in that tournament. So I think we can definitely consider him on FanDuel. And he's going to be really unowned on DK at 4,800. Gary Trent was really, really efficient in the bubble. I don't expect that efficiency to sustain. Obviously hasn't kept up this year, and I don't expect him to pick it up back up. But I do think his minutes are pretty secure with no CJ McCollum over there. I don't mind Gary Trent. Other options to consider on DK, maybe a cute GPP flyer with Josh Jackson, but someone that we need to always keep an eye on now. Steve Kerr has finally trusted him. Is Tsunami Poppy Kelly Oubre Jr. 5,500, 5,400 on FanDuel. I think 37 minutes of Kelly Oubre Jr., I'll take that if he's going to get that again from Steve Kerr.
Yeah, he looked great. That Laker game, that whole Laker game was fun. I mean, Andrew Wiggins, I thought would even go a little bit more. I love playing him against LeBron. I don't read into too many narratives, but somebody that got shipped out of town. They traded the number one pick and shipped him to Minnesota in order to not play with him in Cleveland and get Kevin Love out there. So Andrew Wiggins was somebody that I thought would even bust a little bit more, but definitely a fun Golden State win for the other night. But working our way around there, small forward is kind of a spot where there's actually better options up top than you would expect on a normal slate. Kawhi Leonard, 9,400 on DraftKings. Jaylen Brown, DeRozan, 8,500 on DraftKings as well. Kind of off with you there, but 7,700 Jerian Grant is really kind of a guy that I'm taking a stand on tomorrow. I feel really, really good about that tag and about his current form. So I'll definitely have some interest there. One of the other guys in the fade category that was very, very popular, and I know it was a 4-game slate, now you've got a 10-gamer, but David Nwaba is 4K. No, thank you. Only played 21 minutes, put up 19 fantasy points, but with Oladipo there, with Wood there, it's just going to be difficult for him to get any kind of a ability, not a high-usage guy as it is, so that's a definite pass for me. And Rodney Hood, 3,800. We got to bring him up because he did start for Portland. He's going to be in that night hammer, 3,800 over on DraftKings. Any interest there before we move on?
It's nice that he got mid 20 minutes the last time. I was shocked to see that just because he had not played north of 18 minutes yet in a regular season game. So 25 minutes definitely did caught me off guard. He was sensational 2 years ago against the Nuggets in the second round matchup, which went to 7 games. And when Portland ended up going to the conference finals and ended up getting swept by the Warriors. But I think a direct pivot off of him is Cam Johnson, who started at power forward for the Suns, who has small forward, power forward eligibility, 3,900. It'll be interesting to see where those two guys coming in at specific ownerships. I think one of those guys would be a nice salary saver for sure, especially on FanDuel. Cam Johnson's 4,300. He's in the Joe Harris price range of 4,500 and below, where you might want to be spending down to make your roster construction a little unique, potentially with the studs to pay up for. But it's a position where you want to save salary. I think he's an okay play. Nothing that I'm too excited about, but I think 25 minutes of Rodney Hood, I think you can get around 20 fantasy points, which is pretty solid.
Love it. Well, before we get over to power forward, just want to talk to you guys about the Connor promotion that we're running. CONOR. Connor for UFC 257 going this weekend. Make sure that you check that out. Do you want to tell the people about the Connor promotion?
For sure. Yeah. If you go to awesemo.com/promos, you'll get an access of MMA Weekly for $2.57 for UFC 257. Conor McGregor returns to the UFC. Make sure to check it out. Enjoy our MMA product. We have pretty much what you see for the NBA. Just you'll get your MMA top fighters tool, which Alex breaks down all the top fighters by using his data projections, your MMA rankings. Obviously, great content from Pete the Heat and Jason Floyd throughout the weekend. So we're excited to give you guys this promo, and we hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch Connor fight. So that's enough investment. I know what I'm doing on Saturday here in LA, where everything's shut down, and I'm definitely going to be in front of a TV watching that. So excited for that promotion. And then also the NBA packages starting at $4.95 per week. All you got to do is go to awesemo.com/joinnba. You can check out all the goodies that we have behind the paywall. So definitely give that a look as well. And that's awesemo.com/joinnba. Let's jump on over to power forward. So sitting at the top end over on FanDuel, Christian Wood is 9,800. So you have a new sheriff in town with a Victor Oladipo. I say that kind of jokingly, but Victor Oladipo is definitely going to cut into Christian Wood's usage, you would think, as opposed to some of these games where it was only 8 or 9 Rockets that were active and Christian Wood was able to just be unimpeded to run the offense. But 42.3, he still got 30 points and 9 boards. It's just no assists, no blocks, and only 1 steal. So, or 1 assist, I guess. And so just kind of didn't fill it up there. But I don't know if I necessarily have any worries with him there. He's still going to have plenty of opportunity, but 9,800 is a big price tag, especially when you're paying down $200 to Domantas Sabonis at 9,600, Bam Adebayo all the way down at 8,800 on FanDuel, and Chris Boucher, our boy, free Christopher Boucher, 8,100. I'm not saying that they have to start him. I just want to see some extra run here for the guy because he's just sensational. In 27 minutes, 47 FanDuel points. I mean, he's got it's like Giannis type rates at this point in time. Like, he's absolutely out of his mind. How much 8,100 Boucher is too much Boucher tomorrow?
Man, I love me some Chris Boucher. Absolutely sensational. Has paid up his price tag pretty much along the way on FanDuel and on DraftKings. It's been awesome to play him. And even on Super Draft, I believe his multiplier was like a 1.8, 1.9 for the longest time. So we'll see what that checks in for tomorrow. But 7,300 on DK, 8,100 on FanDuel. And I got to like Boucher quite a bit. Power forward is loaded tomorrow on FanDuel. And I really like Porzingis 7,500. If he's going to play low 30 minutes again, I think that's awesome for Porzingis. And last year, when healthy, when he was playing mid 30s, he was like pricing the 9K price tag. So I'm gonna like that quite a bit. And like I said, it was loaded. I think a pay down option we can definitely consider Draymond Green or an Xavier Tillman, a solid player out of Michigan State, a high character guy who Tom Izzo praised him throughout his Big Ten career. I believe he's 4,600 on FanDuel, and then he's all the way priced pretty cheap down on DK. He has center eligibility and power forward eligibility. $3,500 Xavier Tillman against Portland is someone that we should definitely be considering going into tomorrow because no Jonas Valanciunas.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love power forward tomorrow. Over on DraftKings, as I'm looking up and down the area, and Eric Pascal only played 19 minutes, put up 30 fantasy points. So don't get too drawn into that. I don't know if that's something that's going to necessarily be repetitive, but he is 4,300, so there is something to be said there. One guy that actually played 27 minutes, and I've kind of just been waiting for him to get the run. He ended up getting the starting nod for Minnesota. Jared Vanderbilt, 4,900 over on DraftKings. As long as he's starting there, power forward and center eligibility, played 29 minutes, put up 29 fantasy points, and he's basically just over a 1 point DraftKings point per minute guy. So getting those minutes at 4,900 against Orlando, somebody that I think I could definitely still seeing having some exposure to. Not somebody to go crazy with, but on a strong power forward position, somebody to maybe get a little bit different with. Robert Covington is, oh man, just what a tough guy to be rostering at this point. 4,800 with CJ McCollum out. You got to think the usage is going to go up there eventually, but it just hasn't, and he's not really the guy. Do you have any Robert Covington at 4,800 on FanDuel interest tomorrow?
Yeah, 5K on DK, 4,800 on FanDuel. And Rocco is one of those guys. He can get those five stocks in a hurry on FanDuel, and he can really propel you. It hasn't happened yet. I think he's kind of due. He can knock down those threes and whatnot. Maybe he finds a way to rack up some extra rebounds or whatnot. So I'm okay with Rocco. Not someone that I'm too interested in, but something that really interested me last time out was obviously Marvin Bagley playing 30 north of 30 minutes for the back-to-back time for back-to-back games. Kind of people forget that when Marvin Bagley and Zion were in the same high school class, Bagley was actually the number one high school recruit, and then he reclassified and went to Duke a year early. Bagley was a very solid high school player, and he kind of, I guess, went head-to-head with Zion the other night. He went 11 and 19, put up 42 fantasy points. And if Bagley's going to get mid-30 fantasy points, mid-30 minutes. Last year, he was a 7K player. And it's just that it's concerning. He's playing against a tough Clippers matchup. Luke Walton just doesn't trust him, but I'm someone who's definitely going to have him on my GPP radar for sure.
I'm proud of you. You avoided touting Buddy Hield. Congratulations. I know 5,800 that was difficult for you, so I'm proud of you. But then, of course, you still came back and touted Marvin Bagley, so I guess everything is okay in Rinpack's world. Everything is going exactly like it normally does, so let's just get ourselves on over to center and get out of here for you. Sitting at the top end there, you have Kevin Durant with power forward center eligibility over on DraftKings. Andre Drummond, 9,900 in that Brooklyn game. If you're looking for a run back, he makes sense, him and Dotson. So Andre Drummond, 9,900. He's just getting all the run there. Jared Allen, it's going to be interesting to see how those minutes break down because now you got McGee and Allen and just figuring out how all of that is going to work. It's going to be something to really behold. Jared Allen, 6,600. I had to plug that in and take a look. No, thank you. Marking our way down on FanDuel, you've got Nikola Vucevic, 9,900, and then Joel Embiid should be good to go. It sounds like 9,800. He'll be back. Clint Capella's tag all the way up to 8K on FanDuel. Who are you kind of looking to take some shots on up top on center?
Man, I like Vooch quite a bit. 8,600 seems like a nice discount off of Embiid, off of Sabonis, even off of Drummond. There's no reason why Vooch can't be the highest scoring center on this slate. against Minnesota. So I like Vooch especially quite a bit. I even like him on FanDuel, $9,900. Can be pretty much the high scoring center on the slate, like I said, for DK as well. Someone who I'm kind of been very shocked with his performance of late is Clint Capella, man. He's been putting up north of 50 fantasy points back-to-back games, playing high 30 minutes. So that'll help you definitely get there, man. Putting up 25 and 15, 23 and 15 the last two games out respectively. Pretty impressive so far. Monitor the Miles Turner situation. He does have a fracture in his right hand. Does not require surgery, so he's 7,100. Now, if he plays, I'm not that interested in him. I would rather save the money and go down to potentially an Enes Kanter, 6,300 on both sides. When Kanter is going and not in foul trouble and can hold his own on defense, he can put up 50 fantasy points like he did in 29 minutes against Atlanta. I don't think anyone in Memphis is really going to concern me for Kanter. So I think Kanter is someone we should definitely be projecting at least in the mid-30s, if not higher. Hopefully he can play north of 30 minutes and stay on the court. Other guys definitely, in terms of paying down, which I don't really like to do. Obviously, Tillman has center eligibility over there in DK. Paying down on FanDuel is nothing that I'm going to be looking forward to do whatsoever. No interest in a Cousins or a Wiseman. I'll be solely looking to pay up for sure. Monitor the Ibaka situation. If Zubac were to play again, I think we could go to him again against Sacramento, but I forgot what Ibaka has been ruled at.
Yeah, I don't think he's been ruled out yet, from what I understand. Looking at that, yeah, I don't see... I see that he looks just fine. It looks like he's going to be fine to go. So maybe not Zubac, but Naz Reid, 27 minutes against Atlanta the other night. I hate myself. I hate the call. I hate whatever, but it's 4,800 over on DraftKings for a guy who's generally a high fantasy point per minute producer, and then sitting over at 4,700. He's kind of like as cheap as I would really want to go on this slate, looking over on FanDuel. I don't really see anybody else below him. I know Cousins and Wiseman are sitting down there a little bit lower. Wiseman didn't look great against the Lakers by any means. They held him to 12 minutes, but he had those 27 to 26 minutes that had kind of been elevated there in the previous two games against centers where they really needed to like utilize his size. San Antonio with Aldridge, he's kind of like a hybrid five. He can play a little bit of a power forward center. He's kind of, I guess, not like your typical 7-footer five that would be there, but Jakob Poeltl's not starting, so probably not going to have any interest there in going to Wiseman. Anybody else that you really want to touch on at center? Another position to definitely pay up for, but you can't pay up for every position.
Yeah, no, I think we covered all the grounds in center. I think, especially tomorrow, pretty much around the clock NBA content. Follow at Awesemo_com, at Awesemo NBA. Get your whole around the clock NBA content starting with us, and you're going to be ending off the night with a great new addition to our content thread with the late night show with Chris Baggs, a little sweat for the late night show. I think that's going to be a great show where we're going to be talking about potential live betting and whatnot, and potential pivots for the late night slate. Would be really exciting to join in. Maybe I'll crash a few shows in the future. Another thing that you guys should definitely do is subscribe on the Apple Podcast feed. Leave a nice review for us. Your reviews are much appreciated, as this is a new show, and we hope the show sticks around for the long haul.
Yeah, we just got done with this entire thing, and we didn't once reference the fact that you have the Wednesday NBA Slate starter screen on your background there. Man, it must be nice to be Ridpack. What a setup over there. What a place to be. Guys, this is awesome today. Enjoyed it. We kept it under 30 minutes for you. Just make sure that you keep track of all the news coming in at the Awesemo NBA feed. There's going to be a lot of it. There's going to be value that definitely shows up. So keep tuned to that. Check the ownership projections. Refresh those constantly, and best of luck tomorrow. Let's go get it done and pull an bro. That'd be awfully fun. So take it easy, and best of luck to you all tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow on Thursday.